To start off, I'd like to tell you about my own story. I think I was a pretty average student. I graduated from high school, enjoyed math, was excited to go into engineering, and uh, and I really enjoyed my engineering experience in college as well. During the time in college, I had one internship with a company in California. I had a good time. I felt like I was learning a lot of great things, and came to the end of my bachelor's degree and happened to be working with a professor at the time who invited me to stay for a master's. And I actually didn't have any interest in doing a master's at the time, but he told me about the project that I'd be working on, and it sounded really amazing. So I decided to stay for a master's degree. At the end of the master's degree, he came back and asked me if I wanted to go on for a PhD, and I said, absolutely not. I'm not interested at all in going into academia or going on for PhD. Maybe sometime later in my life I'll think about it, but not at this point. Well, he talked me into at least interviewing at another school for a PhD position, and I personally felt like it was a really good fit, and so I decided to stay for a PhD. And then at the end of my PhD is when I went out. Oh, I also had one more internship during my PhD, and then went back on the job market. So between each of these degrees, I had applied for jobs. I had gone through that process, plus I had gone through the process for these internships, and I learned some things throughout the process. And I remember as I finished my PhD, I actually went up. I was interviewing with a company that it looked very solid. I was sure that they were going to give me an offer. The interview had gone really well. I'd flown out there, had the in-person interview with them, and I climbed on the plane to fly back home, and I just felt so disappointed because there was a different company that I really wanted to work for, and I'd sent them a resume about 3 months earlier than that, and I had received a cold, just a form rejection letter from them, and I felt like they hadn't even read my resume. I felt like they didn't even know who I was, and yet I just got this form rejection letter from them. And so I remember climbing on the plane, and I was just so kind of frustrated. Not so much at myself, because I felt like I was a qualified candidate, but more at the system that I was trying to play this game in. I saw this system that was overrun by rules that maybe I didn't understand, and yet I felt qualified to work for that other company, but I just couldn't get them to look at me. And anyway, I ended up getting a job with that other company. It was my dream job, so to speak, at the time. I was so excited when I got the offer from them, and I learned a lot through that process. But that whole experience opened my eyes to the fact that we really don't do a good job of educating students how to get a job, how to get a dream job, something that they're really passionate about, and how to go out and interview companies. Not just go through the interview process and think of the company interviewing you, but to actually interview companies and find a position that really makes sense and really aligns with your passions. So anyway, I just wanted to share that experience with you because that's my why. I've had this course on my mind for years. I've actually given several lectures about it. My students at my university, every year I take a class period and go over this material with them because I feel like it's so important, and it's not taught anywhere else, at least that I've seen. It's not taught to these engineering or STEM students in general. Other degrees actually have courses on this. If you go into business, or if you go into education, or if you go into the arts, they actually have courses that teach you how to maneuver the job market and how to find a good position. But for some reason in the STEM world, maybe it's just taken for granted that you're qualified, that you're going to go find a great job. But I don't think we should take it for granted. There's too much at stake. There's too many good jobs and too much opportunity out there to just take status quo. So that's my why. I just wanted to share that with you. That's the reason I'm putting this course together, and I hope that this material is helpful to you in your situation.